You clicked this video because you want to know if First Berserker Khazan is just another copy-paste Souls-like. Is it worth your time? Is it going to be good? Or is the demo even worth playing? So I'm going to answer all those questions now. First off, let's cover the good. There are both good and bad things about First Berserker Khazan, and the good is definitely in the combat. I found myself enjoying the combat a ton. It's very akin to something like Lies of P, where you had a really intense parry system, and Sekiro, it's somewhere in between both of those. Your combat is going to consist of executing counterattacks as well as perfectly timed parries and whittling your enemy's stamina bar down to where you can perform a critical strike. Now, when you first start the game, like any game, it takes a while to get built up and to get your skills ready. The combat is a little bit stale, just going back and forth between a few heavy attacks and then a few light attacks, but as you unlock the different weapons and as you unlock your skills, the combat becomes very entertaining and very fluid. Now, one thing that is an absolute must know about the combat is the fact that you are going to have a very punishing stamina bar. When you run out of your stamina completely and you're not watching it, you will literally stand there for about 1.5 to 2 seconds and be unable to attack. This leaves you open for bosses and enemies to absolutely wreck you, so it is very important that you have stamina management. With that stamina management, you need to know that you can dodge or roll dodge like you would in Elden Ring, but it's very much the exact same dodge you would get in Lies of P or Bloodborne, where you can dodge to the right or dodge to the left and evade attacks. However, this does take up stamina, and I have found that it is way better to take advantage of the parry system than waste a bunch of stamina learning how to dodge back and forth. But overall, as I stated at the beginning of the video, I really had fun with the combat. I liked the ability to use different skills to weave them in and out of your heavy attacks and your light attacks. I found that the combat was immersive, and it really felt good to hit your enemy with the 3 different weapon types that are offered in First Berserker Khazan. But speaking of the skills, let's go ahead and look at that now, because I found that the skills that we were able to use were actually pretty interesting. You see, for each type of weapon, there are 5 different skill trees you can go down, and then there is a common skill tree that's going to cover things like resources, reflection, javelin, which is your throwing projectile, and counterattacks. So there's a ton of different ways to play and a ton of different combos to use. I personally have found that at least in the demo, and I don't know if we're going to be getting more of a skill tree later down the road, but in the demo, it seemed to serve for a really good taste of what we were to get down the road. Now, I'm not sure how long the game is supposed to be, but it seems like level 34 is not that far off, and I ended the demo right around level 18. I can imagine the game is going to be quite a bit longer than just level 34, so I can imagine at launch we probably are going to get a few more skill points. But with all that being said, I think there's going to be a lot of diversity within the skill trees that you can use and put together a build or multiple builds that suit your purpose as well. I know between the 3 weapons, the dual wield, the greatsword, and the spear, there are a ton of different playstyles you can put together, combining different attributes of different skill trees to put together the build or builds that you personally would like to play. Now I want to talk about one of the weaker aspects that I think the game is going to have, and I think that's going to be the story. Although the game is incredibly fun, I found the story just your basic revenge tale, and that seems to be okay at times, but other times can seem to fall flat, at least within the demo. Now, the story isn't all bad by any means, and I do think there are very cool aspects, like the fact that we are possessed by this ghost demon thing that's going to allow us to use our body after all the torture we've been through in order to get our revenge, and there could be some pretty interesting aspects between how he leads us in the story, but overall, this is just so far your basic revenge tale. And if there's not more to come outside of the demo, which, let's be honest, there probably is, it just seems like there needs to be a little bit more in terms of character development or different things that affect our character than just your basic revenge story. I found that the one NPC we were allowed to interact with really didn't give us much to go on, and I don't remember the name of the NPC or really why she was there in the first place. Now, I would love to hear your thoughts on this down in the comments, and let's be honest, it's still very, very early, and we've only played about 2.5 hours of a demo. But regardless of what happens, I do hope I'm wrong when it comes to the story, and I hope it becomes very engaging and meaningful as the game progresses. Next up, I want to go back to something the game does very, very well, and that is the boss fights. The boss fights are incredible. Even though it was only a tutorial boss or a demo boss that we fought one of 2, this game knows how to do a great boss fight. They are engaging, they are difficult, they rely on you realizing realizing what the boss is going to use, learning the moveset, and being able to parry and dodge effectively, and the bosses are incredibly cool. I think the bosses as we progress through the game are only going to get better, and they are really challenging, which provides you with that awesome Souls-like Elden Ring vibe after you defeat a boss, which is that rush of endorphins, meaning you did a great job and you really accomplished something. This game definitely captures that in the boss fights, and I cannot wait to see what else they have down the road. If the tutorial boss or the demo bosses are anything to go by, I think that this game is going to be absolutely phenomenal in the Souls-like genre and a very welcome addition. The last demo boss we faced took me about an hour to beat, but it did feel really challenging, and I loved the moveset, I loved the atmosphere, the boss looks amazing, and like I said, it does give you that really nice sense of achievement and accomplishment when you finally defeat him. Now I'm about to wrap the video up, but there are two more things that I want to discuss really quickly. The first is going to be the loot system in this game, and the second is just going to be things you're going to recognize from other Souls games that I think they're also doing very well. So first and foremost, the loot. I think the loot could be something that is either done very well or very poorly in this game. I haven't quite decided, and I'll let you guys decide down in the comments and we'll talk all about it. But as far as the loot, you're going to get loot that drops from either chests or enemies that are going to range from different colors of how good the loot is, white being the worst and orange being the best. Now, the reason that I don't think this is amazing is the fact that you can get level 6 gear and then right away level 7 gear with only a 1 or 2 point difference when it comes to your defense. Because of this, there seems to be a lot of trash or throwaway gear that doesn't feel very good when you get it. However, there is something I think they're doing well here, and that is going to be there are different sets that are going to give you different attributes and different perks when you wear them. For example, as you can see, I have the Frozen Mountain helm here, and if you wear the entire Frozen Mountain set, you're going to get a ton of different attributes that are going to help your gameplay overall. I really like this. I just don't know how I feel overall about there being a level 7 helmet that drops and then all of a sudden the level 6 helmet that drops with almost no reason for them to be there. I think the loot system is going to be a lot of you sorting through your loot, throwing away things you don't need, or just discarding them and not picking them up. And there could be a problem where you get certain parts of a set, yet the parts of the set have different levels on them and they aren't as good as they actually could be. So this will be something interesting to check out, but I would love to know what you guys think down below. I'm not quite sold on it, but the gear does look very cool, and that's half the battle right there. And the last thing I want to talk about is the Souls-like nature of this game and things that you're going to recognize from a typical Souls-like. Yes, there are bonfire-like checkpoints where you can level up, you can also save your progress, and when you die, you will start back there again. There is going to be a Souls system in terms of when you die, you will drop your lacrima, but what's nice about this is when you pick up your lacrima, especially when fighting a boss, you can still get more and more lacrima each time you die, instead of losing it all and having nothing when you pick up your souls again. This is going to allow you to fight bosses over and over again that you might be stuck on, and eventually you will level up and eventually you will get more skill points to give yourself a little bit more of an edge fighting that very hard boss. But this is definitely a Souls-like through and through, and like I said, I would love to know everything you guys think about the demo. Have you played it? Have you not played it? Are you going to be picking up this game? Down in the comments. But guys, that is my overarching thoughts for the First Berserker Khazan. I think this is a very fun game. I put it right up in the tier where I keep Lies of P, which is pretty much an A or an S tier Souls-like. I'm very excited to pick this game up in March, and I think it's going to be a welcome addition, and I think you should pick it up because you're not going to be disappointed. Although I did say there are some weak points to the demo that I played, we have to remember that this is just a demo, and I'm sure things will get fleshed out once the game releases in March. Before you leave, we do have a Patreon. Make sure to go check that out. There's a ton of free content on there. You don't have to pay anything for it, just a ton of other videos. And also, if you like the content and want to stay up to date with everything Souls-like, Elden Ring, Night Rain, and beyond, make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell notification on your way out. And until next time, guys, stay safe, enjoy the game, and I'll see you in the next one.